Telecinema, created by she, her, continued by he, him, or it. If you think I'm a monster. How we doing out there? Good, great, grand, and wonderful. As you see on your screen, your dial, however you are choosing to join us today, join me today. I appreciate you. Even though if some of you motherfuckers as of late just put on my show to fall asleep. It would be a lot cooler if you put on an episode that you already listened to and you learned something and then you played it again to fall asleep. That would be cooler so that we could chat as opposed to me saying, oh, you listened to this episode. What'd you like? Don't know. Fell asleep. It's not good. It's not good. As you see on your screen, your dial, however you are joining me today, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you. The Brotherhood of Satan. So, as most of you know, I don't really have a plan with this show. I don't have a plan. I just do it because I'm obligated. I mean, I kind of like to do it more so from the fact that a lot of the feedback I also get is I've never heard of this film before, which pleases me, pleases my heart. But yeah, you know, I don't have a plan usually, and as the month of October is going to shake out, I guess I'll be doing a lot of horror films, and it was not by design, I can assure you. It just kind of worked out that way, and what a title to start with in the month of October with the Brotherhood of Satan. A film from the 70s that kind of swept under the mat. Under the mat, and it's nice that Arrow Video, you know, they give us the goods, babe. They give us the goods, all the goods. And this one's packed with bonus features. In fact, I fucking love the commentary for this one. Sometimes the commentaries I can go either way on. More for selfish reasons, always like, oh, this should be me sitting in. I mean, if you're going to have a cinema historian, I'm getting to historian status. I may not have the age, but boy, I got the fucking backing for it. But this particular commentary for the Brotherhood of Satan, actually very humorous, very informative. But Arrow Video always packing the goods, and I guess, you know, we will start the month with a little satanic panic, a little cultism. I think this film just very underappreciated. Even if you have heard of it, you would probably say, you know, and if you have seen it, I urge you, I mean, one, to go back and look at the phenomenal transfer, video and audio, from Arrow. I think it looks great. Sometimes I get really nervous about a lot of the older films getting a remaster of sorts, old horror films specifically. Just, you know, I don't know that I necessarily need to see Evil Dead in 4K, and that's, you know, it's just personal preference. I like the graininess. I like the power of suggestion. It's the power of suggestion, right? No, all right. So the Brotherhood of Satan. A small rural town and a family of outsiders, both trapped in a demonic grip of the Brotherhood of Satan. Recently widowed Ben, his glamorous girlfriend Nikki, hot Nikki, and his small daughter KT, not Katie, KT, K.T. are on a road trip across the Southwest. Didn't I just do Threshold? I just did a road trip pick. Of course, that one is definitely, it is way more of a road trip picture than the Brotherhood of Satan. This road trip gets fucked up in the beginning, and stumble upon a small town who maybe has some witches in it, but that's where the road trip stops. So you only see the road trip for about, 10, 15 minutes, and they try to leave twice, and both unsuccessfully. Anyway, a recently widowed Ben, his glamorous girlfriend Nikki, and his small daughter KT are on a road trip across the Southwest, which comes to a screeching halt when they witness an accident. And it's so weird because actually, like, I gotta say, The opening sequence for this movie, before you meet the family on the road trip, see if I can give you some visuals here, and it'll be for you. It'll be just as jarring to hear as it is to watch. But you have a group of kids. This is a creepy kid picture, or are they kids? Are they transferring of something going on? No, I shall never tell you. But it starts out with like a toy tank and like army guys and stuff, and cuts between a real tank rolling over a car and screams of men and women and children, and it keeps cutting between an actual tank rolling over a car to a toy tank. It is jarring, and there's almost no explanation. I think one of my favorite aspects of this film is there's not a lot of explanation for anything, and sometimes we just let the scenes ride, which I really, really like, with no dialogue, just the score playing in the background. I love, it took me 2 times watching. The first time I watched this, I was like, okay, that I miss old set pieces is kind of how I walked away from this one, and I miss some old school acting, which everyone in this film is super great. I think that what separates this film from others that came out during this time is the exceptional cast. I think, a lot of horror films, most of the time, obviously, in the late 70s, early 80s, definitely early 90s, you wouldn't just have an elite cast, what I'm saying? Especially, like, think of the Friday the 13th movies. None of those people are winning Oscars, right? And in this one, I think it's a very old school set piece with an elite cast, and it's just very unfortunate that it got swept under the rug as it did. Heading to the nearby isolated desert town of Hillsborough to report wait a minute, go on now. So obviously I was talking about the jarring scene that they stumble across the accident on the road trip, Ben and Nikki. Well, that's the car that we saw getting smashed by the tank in the beginning, or toy tank. What the hell is happening? And you kind of know what you definitely don't know what you're in store for until kind of the last half of the movie. But I mentioned creepy kid pictures. So like after you see the tank get rolled over and in the screams, and it ends before we open our title sequence with 5 children just standing there with blank faces, and the opening title sequence is so trippy, dude. So old school trippy. But like I said, the accident that the road trippers, Ben, Nikki, and KT is the same. It's a massacre, and it's what we saw in the initial beginning with the kids. A toy tank did that? Huh? I don't know. Anyway, heading to the nearby isolated desert town of Hillsborough to report it to the sheriff, played by L.Q. Jones, who also produced this, a great character actor. Seen him in some of Peckinpah's old western, Sam Peckinpah's Peckinpah. Reported to the sheriff. They are met with a hostile reaction from the locals, which, let's finish the sentence before you do your fucking derailing all the time. They are met with a hostile reaction from the locals, who are gripped by paranoia and fear due to a series of gruesome deaths, as well as the mysterious disappearance of 11 of the community's children. Another aspect of this film that I like, they, Ben, Nikki, and KT, when they enter the town, you kind of, they look hillbilly. Doesn't look, it looks like there's 1, maybe 2 streetlights in their town as a whole. And instead of it being like, yep, we just like to, we hate outsiders. We don't take kindly to outsiders around here, so we're going to kill you. In fact, so when you see, them starting to get harassed as they're trying to report this accident, it kind of flips it on its head. They aren't a bunch of fucking, mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging hillbillies. They're not. In fact, they're all kind of uncomfortable with what the fuck is going on in the town. And actually, when you look at Wikipedia, and I don't I don't know. I'm sure they probably explicitly state it, but the mind wanders. But there's like 26 deaths in 3 days. That I don't think that's said explicitly. I mean, you see kind of later in the film some gruesome sequences with bodies that we're talking about, but like, I don't think it's explicitly stated in the scene when the town is essentially harassing these outsiders. And then it's broken up by this man wielding an axe coming towards the sheriff. So now everything's all fucked up. It's like these outsiders arrive. They're trying to report an accident. The cop's like, who the fuck are you? Did you do this? Are you, and then all of a sudden this guy out of nowhere is screaming, you took her from me. You took her. He's got his axe and he's about to hit the sheriff with the axe, and you're just like, dude, what the fuck is going on right now? So, and I like that because, I knew from there on, oh, we're not in store for kind of a stereotypical trope that is used not only during the time that this film came out, but just in general, horror films in general. I mean, I've mentioned creepy kids. Just think of how many creepy kid horror films have come out, since the release of this film. Shortly thereafter, like shit like Children of the Corn and all that stuff, right? In fact, I'm sure if I probably did a little homework, a little research, there's probably been at least one creepy child picture released per year since this film, if not more, since this film came out in 1970. And who doesn't? I mean, if you're a fan of horror films, there's just something about a creepy kid, right? God damn it. And this is someone who, wants to have kids and for the most part loves kids. Yes, loves kids. Oh, I guess we can't make those jokes anymore. But anyway, like somebody who, loves kids and shit like that, you see some of the stuff in this and you're like, procreation's overrated. I don't want my kid to become a part of a coven because he's too stupid to say no and to fight it. Not that that's what happens in this, even though the ending, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but the ending in this, man, this had to fucking have people in the 1970s just completely jarring, because like, if you think in the 70s, like, especially like places like the UK and stuff, like, dude, witchcraft and all that shit, that was banned. Like, you got caught doing witchcraft on a fucking street corner, they were hanging your ass. Well, that's maybe a little overkill, but stuff like this wasn't released in the UK. They were you got to think of the 1970s as a whole, where obviously we almost segued, hippie and free love into, we're going to explore the dark arts and black magic, right? And kind of the deterioration of the religious foundation that the world had up until that point, which, again, I also find just super fascinating. And it's definitely funny to look back now, and just some of the shit that terrified people, like, for real, at this time, were there people that could watch this movie and separate art from, real life? Of course. But the fact that was a time where you could protest something like this and bury it, like, stuff like that just fascinates me. The human condition of, why, like, that it's a movie, right? And it just, you can go back further, talking about fascinating. I love, like, stories like, I think it's the Great Train Robbery, where the cowboy, they have a portrait shot of the cowboy, and he shoots the gun, towards the camera lens, and there was just people fainting in the crowd. Oh, you shot it, like, that's just, oh man, the human condition in the brain, just, it fascinates me how you could, obviously it's stupid to me, but when I didn't grow up then, I'm sure it was probably just fucking wild to see, right? And Brotherhood of Satan, no exception, especially with the end that just kind of leaves you going, fuck, dude. Like, holy shit. Especially at this time, like, where you always just, 99.999% of the time, it ends exactly how it's supposed to at this time in the 50s, 60s, 70s. The guy gets the girl, or the girl gets the guy, whatever, right? And this one, again, so we have the flipping on its head with the not unintelligent Midwest town, also with an ending that just will suck the life out of you, baby. And I love that. I fucking love that. Let's see here. Yeah, 11 of the community's children are missing. I bet you 2 more make a coven. 13, right? Why am I doing that? Why am I making love to them? Why are my lips touching the mic? As the bodies continue to pile up around them, Ben and his family find themselves joining the sheriff, also a local priest, and the town's enigmatic, Jesus, Sean, like you've never seen that word before, enigmatic physician Doc Duncan, played by Strother Martin. He was in Cool Hand Luke, if you guys don't know who, tons of shit. Doc Duncan, in the midst of a mystery, you know what, let's start this sentence. Let's start this sentence over again. As the bodies continue to pile up around them, Ben and his family find themselves joining the sheriff, a local priest, and the town's enigmatic physician, Doc Duncan, in the midst of a mystery that points towards a deadly satanic cult. With the exception of LQ Jones, everybody, like I said, this is an elite cast, right? If you take Strother Martin's approach to his character out of this, I think the film may fall flat. And here's the thing. I think a lot of people that watch this film are going to think that Strother Martin's performance is completely over the top, completely overacted, and impacts, some members of the audience negatively. I couldn't be further away from that group. I thought the overacting was perfect, especially since there's a range to it. I mean, he doesn't start out this way. There is a gradual progression to his character, and I won't ruin anything for you, but by the time we are reaching some of the closing moments of Act 3, and especially like the second time I watched this, the appreciation for what he's doing cannot be understated. I just thought it was perfect, pitch perfect for this, especially like when you see his character. Tell me that a character that is what he is wouldn't act like that, especially at that time. So I could see definitely, like, if I showed this to a couple, people that I hang with, I'm going to say about 75-80% of them are going to be like, yeah, dude, but that fucking, what's his name? Strother Martin? Is that the guy's fucking acting name? Yeah, he fucking, he went way over the top, and I'll be sitting there going, yeah, it was great, considering who he like, well, want to ruin anything now. Produced by L.V. Moore, legendary, and LQ Jones, legendary, a veteran character actor best known for his work with Sam Peckinpah. The Brotherhood of Satan is an atmospheric and chilling tale that provides a crucial missing link between... No. This is why you read stuff beforehand, Sean. You can't. When you see this on the fly, it just fucks you up. But I'm going to read it anyway. The Brotherhood of Satan is an atmospheric and chilling tale of terror that provides a crucial missing link between Rosemary's Baby, which kicked off the whole satanic panic back in 1968, and The Devil's Reign. You know what? I don't think I've seen The Devil's Reign. How dare I? In the cycle of turn of the 70s, shockers, what? The Brotherhood of Satan is an atmospheric and chilling tale of terror that provides a crucial missing link between Rosemary's Baby and The Devil's Reign. In the cycle of turn of the 70s shockers involving sinister devil-worshipping cults, lurking within the shadows of modern-day America. Sometimes these sentences hurt my tongue. So it's directed by Bernard McAveety, written by William Welch, and story by Sean McGregor. I don't know why, but this does seem like a very Irish type film, and there's nothing to support that theory, but between the three of them, one would have to assume. Starring Strother Martin, L.Q. Jones, Charles Bateman, Anna Capri, Charles Robinson, Alvy Moore, produced and also stars in it. Jerry Reichel, cinematography by John Arthur Morrow, which was... I love the cinematography in this. I love the production design in this. This is old school filmmaking, baby. Especially some of those final sequences in Act 3. We just don't do stuff like that anymore, babe. We just don't. We go, hey, fucking computer guy, we're going to need you to touch up this room and make it look culty. I miss, and I kind of don't get, I wish... I do a movie podcast, you'd think I'd fucking know, but I'm a dumb person. But I wish I would know, or I wish I knew what the comparison in prices, in how much money it took to create a practical set, like you see on Brotherhood of Satan, and what that would cost if somebody on a computer did it. I would be very curious, because to me... you can set up a lot of this stuff, cheat a lot of this stuff with the camera work, right? And if you're only making like these big styrofoam, that resemble, rocks and pillars and shit like that, how much can that actually how much more can that actually cost as opposed to someone sitting at a computer and doing it digitally? I gotta think we're relatively close, because our big set pieces are coming towards the end. Up until that point, we have very limited locations. I think we have the sheriff's office, a couple sequences in the town, and then we have a lot of stuff like out yonder, out in the field, like when they try to leave town twice. That's both. It's just on the outskirts of a town. It's shot, in these, vacant acres and acres upon land, but. I would be curious. I would be curious because I look at this set as a whole. It looks fucking great, and I think of how we might butcher it if it was done today. And I wonder if you really need to, And why am I bringing it up? Because I miss it. I miss seeing stuff that look like this. That's all there is to it. I miss old school Hollywood. I don't miss what was going on behind the scenes in old school Hollywood, but I do miss old school Hollywood where, we built these amazing things. The creativity that went into pieces like this. I dare not say that that creativity doesn't exist like that anymore. I'm not. I just think you had to work differently back then. And I'm not saying anything fucking eye-opening, but I miss it sometimes, and it's films like this that, I love the film, but I also get bummed because I, as someone who wants to make films and be a part of projects that are like this, I just get kind of bummed. Those days are long gone, dude. Now, what I don't miss is, I don't even know why I'm bringing this up. I don't believe I saw one black person in this movie. That is bad. We could have had a black child or something somewhere. We could have had a black character somewhere in here, but a lot of whites in this one. I just higher class of actors with this one. Cinematography is great. And this is old school editing. Marvin Wolowitz, taping the shit together, cigarette hanging out of your mouth. Great music by Jaime Mendoza Nava. I miss it. I miss it, man. Strother Martin, L.Q. Jones, Charles Bateman, Anna Capri, Charles Robinson, who played the priest. I thought he did an excellent job. And humorous and not when he is researching the cult, like this may be a fucking cult that we're involved with here. Just pounding an old school Coors This is a father. This is father. I would like to confess my sins. This is a father pounding Coors and doing satanic cult research. I was like, huh, that's something you don't see every day, and that's fucking awesome. But again, I mention him because I just thought he was great. I thought everyone was great in this, with the exception of those fucking demonic children. Get them off the screen. God damn it. Making me feel uncomfortable. But yeah, Charles Robinson plays the priest. Alvy Moore is Toby. Everybody laughs at Toby with a couple of his ideas. Helene Winston as Dame Alice. Joyce Easton as Mildred Meadows. Debbie Storm as Billy Joe. Jeff Williams as Stuart. Judy McConnell as Phyllis, Robert Ward as Mike, and then Jerry Reichel as KT. What are the bonus features on this bad boy? Just a couple of them, 20-minute or 20-minute bonus features, but the first one I fucking learned a lot. I urge, if you pick up the Brotherhood of Satan, the Arrow video release of the Brotherhood of Satan, I was thoroughly entertained. It's called From the Dark Past, is one of the featurettes, 20-minute featurettes. From the Dark Past, which is a visual essay by David Flint on 1970s satanic cinema. I thought it was super informative and, again, just fascinating how people were back then and how people received content like this, art like this. I love it. I love the human condition. The other, and I mentioned the commentary earlier, which brand new audio commentary by writers Kim Newman and Sean Hogan, not of the film. And then you have another bonus feature, The Children of Satan, which is an exclusive new interview with actors Jonathan Erickson Isley and Allison Moore. You also have original trailers, TV and radio spots, image gallery, and reversible sleeve featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by Richard Wells. I thought the artwork was fucking badass, but I turned my sleeve inside out because I think the original poster for the Brotherhood of Satan I just thought it was really fucking good. I wish, this is how fucking selfish and piece of garbage I am. I wish that the original artwork for the poster was the slip cover for the Arrow video release. I know, fucking piece of shit. But, you know, Arrow knocking it out of the fucking park again, as per usual. I just really love this film, and it was weird. I thought it was okay the first time I watched it, and then the second time I watched it with the commentary, and you're absorbing all this information, absorbing how people were then, and kind of the umbrella that this was released under. I thought it was just super fascinating, super great. The Brotherhood of Satan. Dr. Satan. Nope. The Brotherhood of Satan, Arrow video release. Get that now. I guess we're going to be continuing with this spooky in the month of October. Didn't plan it that way, but that's how it's going to work out. Got a lot of shows myself. A lot of shows on other people's podcasts. Where do you find the time, Sean? I don't have it. Ellis Cinema, Brotherhood of Satan, Arrow video release, and we gone. Up these discs. We need to keep physical media around. Look, streaming's great. The quality on physical media is so much better. Go on now.